Le Mans this year was less of a disappointment than it was last year. For me, it was really important that I went back there. And so that was the first challenge, going back there. And then I found a rhythm there, finally. For an hour and a half, I had the best time ever in Le Mans. And then I made a really silly mistake, trying to avoid track limits.
Oh, again, and that's a big hit. That's a big hit, yeah. Well, it's
So now, for me, it's about I want to go back there next time, and I believe I can perform well there.
All right, so we've established you're doing very well, just had a massage, ready for the weekend ahead?
Yeah, it's always a special treat being here in Spa, one of the all-time great tracks. A lot of history here, tradition, and it's a challenging track. Each corner is exciting, interesting, different. So yeah, looking forward to the race here.
And this is your fourth season of ELMS now, so
Yes.
how's that experience going to help you this weekend on your journey?
I think it's just, it's more time in the car, another track that I've been to now a few times. So just each time have more time in the car, more experience, gain more confidence. Not too much confidence, but yeah, just experience.
So last time out in Aragon, you did have a little bit of an unlucky moment, and I feel like your season so far has been categorised by these unlucky moments that have not really been your fault and you've not been able to do anything with. Do you think your luck could turn around in the second half of the season?
You never know about stuff like that. I mean, like you said, we looked like we had a solid third, perhaps second place in Barcelona. Again, we looked very strong for a podium in Le Castellet, and obviously then we got a third place in Aragon. It would be, looking at the championship now, it would be a very different story for us. But that's behind. There's nothing you can really do about it. We just stick with the same sort of, approach to the weekend, game plan. You can never foresee those sort of things. It was great in Aragon that, we managed the recovery drive, and it was a very exciting race. So let's see. Hopefully things turn around a little bit for the remainder of the season.
What would you say are some of your other highlights in your time in ELMS so far?
I think it's coming to tracks like this, coming to tracks like Monza. Portimao I've always enjoyed. Again, it's a very challenging track with the different undulations and fast corners. Just the experience that we're having as a team, collectively, it's just get to learn a lot about oneself through the struggles and challenges. So just the whole experience is something that I'll always cherish, really.
Le Mans this year was a bit of a disappointment for you, and how do you reflect on that and use that disappointment to keep pushing yourself when you're in the car?
Well, to be honest with you, Le Mans this year was less of a disappointment than it was last year. And so, the slogan is fail and then fail better the next time, I suppose. For me, it was all about going back there. I had such a rough experience in 2023. I mentally sort of imploded and never managed to come out of that downward spiral. And so for me, it was really important that I went back there. And so that was the first challenge, going back there, and then to sort of find a rhythm there. I never found a rhythm there. And again, I was struggling in the last session, which was supposed to be my second last session, but it turned into the last session because I went for the triple stint. I found a rhythm there, finally. And so that, for an hour and a half, I had the best time ever in Le Mans. And I really understood what was special about that place. And just... I just really enjoyed that hour and a half. I was free of thought. It was hard to describe. And then I made a really silly mistake, trying to avoid track limits. Just a lapse in concentration, and obviously paid the price for it. But, there was obviously massive disappointment in that moment and afterwards, and you've got the whole team working so hard to help you achieve certain things, and I did feel certainly bad for them, but I did feel like I had broken through a certain barrier there. So now, for me, it's about I want to go back there next time, and I believe I can perform well there. It's just there was a mental block there that I needed to break through.
And do you think that's something you have to overcome at every track that you go to, that mental barrier, and then once you get past that, you're in the flow, you're in the rhythm, and you can really settle in and enjoy yourself?
Not so much every track. Some tracks I just arrive at and just have a feel for it.
Is Spa one of these tracks?
The first time I came here in Sports Cup, I had one of my best races. Then, like I say, in the ELMS seasons, I haven't really, I think, performed to my full potential here. But again, loved it. Monza was one of those tracks again where I was so thrilled to be there, but again didn't perform where I felt like I could. And then I did last season, and then I had another accident there. But up until that point, I was like, okay, finally I'm starting to find the flow of this track. It just depends. Some tracks come easier and just sort of instinctively find a flow quicker. So yeah.
How has Patrick Dempsey, owner of Dempsey Proton, helped you in your journey to Le Mans? You obviously are very similar in that you have very similar careers outside of racing, and you have that same passion once you get, to a racetrack. How has he helped you in that journey?
Well, he started it all for me with Porsche. I'm obviously, because I was a race fan, I'd seen his achievements in Le Mans, and then we were just on a plane. I think it was either from LA to London or vice versa. And he was in the seat behind me, and I was like, hey, listen, just want to say, massive achievement. And then we just started talking about racing, and, I told him that it was sort of my ambition to go to Le Mans and race in GT endurance. And he was like, look, he was like, I have a contact at Porsche. After that flight, we exchanged details, and he hooked me up. That was really the start. And he was at, obviously, Le Mans both years, last year, this year. What was good about it is he understands, the position, where I was sort of pretty tough on myself in the first year, and he was like, relax, it's okay, it's like a lot to take on in the first year. Just a lot of words of encouragement.
And do you think he was then a big reason as to why you chose Porsche? Because obviously there are tons of manufacturers that are incredible in this series. You've got the Aston Martins, the Ferraris. Is that the reason that you ended up kind of gravitating towards Porsche and Proton competition?
Yes, I mean, he said, look, I've done this. I've been in the same position as you. He said that, it's a journey, and there's a challenge there. And Porsche are a great manufacturer to go with because they'll put you through the paces correctly. And then obviously his relationship with Proton and Dempsey Proton Competition, there was a perfect sort of fit for me. Outside of that, I've always, been a fan of Porsche. I was born in Germany. My dad was a Porsche fan. I always had the Matchbox 911 car. So there was sort of, there was an affinity there in some respect. But yeah, it was his connection with Porsche, how they approached it. And so that really, started the ball rolling, like I say.
So, the Road to Le Mans series that you were a part of, it's been great content, obviously, for fans of racing already, for new fans alike. Do you ever watch the footage back, and can you see how much of an impact that's had?
For sure, I watch it. Working closely with Sebastian Borowski and the team that are shooting it, very often I'll see cuts before they actually, go out. And we always discuss about things, and it was always a very open discussion about, the fact that we wanted to show everything, even the bits that I would rather not, maybe, reveal. But, that's what makes it, I think, so interesting, and to show the challenges of it all. I watch it, once is enough for me with most things that I do that I have to sort of watch myself. But it would, I suppose, be at some point be interesting for me to watch them again and sort of see that journey and where we started, because, from everyone to obviously Proton Competition, amazing team, so lucky to be a part of that. But, Sebastian, the filming team, we've been on this journey together now for 5 years, and you feel like everyone's super invested. So yeah, it's something, it's a nice thing to have for me to, look back on this whole experience. What
is your most memorable moment in racing though so far, because it's not over yet? What's been the best experience?
I suppose, being on the podium's nice. I mean, I feel like when we got that podium in Portimao, it was a season where we were really knocking on the door again, getting very close to the podium, but never really making it. And, again, like I say, you feel it with the mechanics, the engineers, they're putting so much energy and work rate into, getting the car across the line. And so when we got that podium in Portimao, it felt like there was, it just felt like there was a great relief. Certainly I felt a great relief, but a validation as well. I felt it, throughout the team. So that would have to go as a plus. And the last podium in Aragon, because I feel like it was a long time coming too.
Okay, here's a bit of a thinker. Do you believe that you've reached your full potential when it comes to racing?
No, absolutely. I don't believe I've reached my full potential in anything. In acting, certainly. I think, it's a never-ending learning curve, and you obviously, strive for the best you can do all the time, but I feel like I always fall short. So, no, I think it's a never-ending journey in most things in life.
I feel like that's a top mentality attitude, that.
Well, I think it's a reality, I just think that's the way it is, and also, it keeps that it keeps it fun and exciting, and keeps the passion alive.
Okay, alternatively, do you have any regrets in your racing career so far?
No, I don't really regrets, or think, I don't have much time for them in general in my life either. I think, things happen in life. I think the best thing to do is analyze it, look at it, learn from it, and move forward. So no regrets.
So what else are you wanting to achieve then? I mean, obviously it would be great to get a win, but is there anything else that would make you feel fulfilled in terms of, this is exactly how I wanted to end my racing career. This is the one thing that I wanted and I've achieved it.
I think be faster. No, I think, because I thought this year would be, my last year, but it's such an addictive thing. And I feel like that, exactly what you said, that idea of you set one goal and then, there's a new goal, and it's just that idea of improvement. And certainly this sport for me has taught a lot about myself in terms of how to deal with disappointments. And when you really feel like you're rock bottom, confidence-wise, mentally, how you go about rebuilding yourself and going for it again, and not being, afraid of failure, and not being stifled by those negative thoughts, to punch through and get up and try again.
And that concept of not being afraid, I think fear is a really interesting thing in the world of motorsports, or maybe fear is not the right word. How do you use those emotions to push forward in the context of racing?
Well, I guess the example for me would be after Le Mans. It was so I was quite, fearful to go back, because I had such a rough experience. So then it was just about regrouping at home for me, exercise, training, getting into a training program, visualizing, the track and things in the track. And that's, that was something that I did. I did think about, should I see, is there something, in a mental coach that would help me help me if my mind starts to go to negative places again. But I didn't get around to doing that, so I just worked myself, had the memory of what it was like to have that feeling, and then visualize the track every day and just train and try and you get a positive mental headspace, really. And to just, again, I think a lot of those fear things or insecurities are ego related, so try and dissolve the ego and just try and enjoy and just try and prepare as best I can, and then, give it my all.
And that mindset is really important in, both aspects of your career. How does your mindset in racing change in comparison to your mindset when you're on set?
Well, I think, the big difference is that I've been, I started acting when I was 17. So it's, that's kind of where I feel most comfortable. It's, a lot of hours in front of the camera. And I always think, there's no secret sauce to any of this stuff. I think it's just, the work you put in, the hours you put in. Obviously, this is an expensive sport. It's difficult to put the hours in, so you find alternative ways. I did a lot of shifter karting, go-karting, going back to that, rediscovering that love, of racing and where it all started for me. so with the acting world, definitely there's pressure there. You know, there's the same idea that you land, you're in a big team of people, you got to work together well, quickly, and you know there's an objective there, and there's a lot of money and there's a lot of pressure. But I'm more used to that world. This is a new world for me, so a lot of catching up.
How do you deal with the pressure of having big names on the racetrack with you, as well as having big names on set with you? Is it the same kind of wide-eyed stance?
No, I guess the big names on the track, that was one of the things that was kind of stifling me a little bit the first year in Le Mans, because I was like, God, don't take out one of the pro team. You know, you're on the track with some of the best drivers in the world, and I was like, whatever you do, don't crash into one of them. You know, and that's obviously not the right mindset to be in. And so that worked as a bit of a negative, to be honest, in that first year. I didn't have it this year, and I feel like I drive pretty cleanly anyway, for the most part. And then, you know, working on set, when you work with some, you know, heroes that, you know, I've had, like, you know, working with Viggo Mortensen or working with John Malkovich, I'm sort of like, wow, cool, you know, you get quite excited by that. And then you start going to work, and then you're working, and sort of, you know, it becomes more normalized. But certainly at the beginning, I still get, you know, those feelings of people that I look up to in anything, in sport or at work.
In terms of acting and motorsport, and also your family, how do you manage to balance it all? Because you put a lot on your plate, but you make it work.
Well, when I'm doing the racing season, I can't really go to work because I won't get insured. You know, so like I could, unless I can film something in a 3-week period between races, I can't really work. You know, Alicia works, and I look after our little boy and do the racing. And then in the down season, hopefully I can pick up a job, and she stays at home, and we kind of work it like that. So it's actually not too bad.
It's enjoyable though, spending time with the kids, spending time at home.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a real luxury, you know, that I'm able to spend so much time with my son, especially in these early years. It's fantastic. I love it.
Do you think you would encourage him to pursue racing in the future?
I think, you know, for me, I'll just expose him to as much stuff as possible, and whatever he's you know, excited or interested in, I'll support him. I won't push anything. I mean, he does love cars and trucks and planes and any sort of machinery, but no, it's just about really sort of exposing as many things, you know, music, whatever it is, books, this sport, and seeing what he chooses.
So I'll finish this off by asking you, what is next for you in terms of this crazy racing career?
I'm not sure yet. You know, we've sort of finished this journey with the Road to Le Mans, but I want to keep racing, so I'm not sure. I'm working on a couple of things.
But the love is still there, you want to continue?
Oh, for sure, yeah, definitely.
Okay, well, we would love to continue having you in the paddock.
Oh, thank you.
Wonderful smile. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Cheers.